The entire lifespan of the Switch, I've been searching far and wide for the controller with the best D-pad. Side-scrollers work just fine with the Pro Controller, but having the D-pad replace the left analog stick just feels the most natural. And I've talked about how much I love the SN30 Pro before, but now 8BitDo has an updated version, along with a whole bunch of other new designs. So, is this newer version still my favorite controller on the Switch? Nintendo has always had the best D-pads, partly because they pioneered and patented the technology, but competitors were always able to get around this patent with almost no trouble at all. The clicky D-pad on Microsoft's Xbox One controller right now ain't too bad either. The Switch might be Nintendo's best and most progressive console, but the decision to have two controllers on the unit at all times really forced them to get rid of the D-pad in lieu of symmetrical face buttons. I find the Joy-Con to be pretty uncomfortable. I don't mind it so much when I'm out and about because the convenience of portable mode makes it tolerable, and when I am out and about, I almost never use the arrow buttons. I'd rather just deal with the thumbstick. The Hori D-pad Joy-Con is also a great solution to this problem, but I already talked about that in another video, and you can watch that video if you want in a card right over here. I immediately bought a Pro Controller with my Switch because I play mostly docked and it has a D-pad. But the problem with the Pro Controller's D-pad is that it is at the bottom of the controller and it's oriented straight. This means that your thumb needs to be oriented at a weird angle in order to use it. And I found that I kept accidentally favoring diagonal inputs. Particularly, I was pressing right and down a lot when I didn't mean to. This is where 8BitDo really shines. The D-pad is big and takes the dominant spot on the left side of the controller. They make a whole slew of controllers, all mimicking old Nintendo products. This N30 is great for Switch Online because even though it has 4 buttons in a cross position, it at least lets you use the controller in other games, unlike the official Nintendo ones that they have coming out. They make an updated version of the N30 controller with the buttons laid out horizontally, just like they would be on an original NES controller, just with 2 extra buttons on top. But that controller is only available for the NES Classic Edition console, not the Switch. Womp. All of these controllers have D-pads that feel exactly like their original hardware. It's kind of amazing how they nailed that feeling. My previous favorite controller was the SN30 Pro, or the SF30 Pro, because Will took the SNES colored one. I use this for every 2D game, whether it be on Switch or on Mac via an emulator. Of course, it also works on PC. I dabbled with some 3D games, and the thumbsticks are fantastic. They feel exactly like PS4 thumbsticks. But this controller doesn't have handles, so reaching down at the bottom of the controller feels weirder than it has to if you just have a Pro Controller sitting on your desk staring back at you like I do. 8BitDo is making an SN30 Pro with grips that I am very excited about, but it's not out yet. The SN30 Pro also includes rumble and motion controls, and the motion controls work very well. This thing is basically a Pro Controller, but it's slightly cheaper and it has a D-pad in the right spot. This is exactly everything that I want in a controller. But my new favorite controller is the newer SN30 Pro. This one in particular is part of their Game Boy line. They also have regular SN30s that are part of the Game Boy line if you want something cheaper and don't care about thumbsticks, motion controls, rumble, or ZL and ZR buttons. Basically, if you just want to use them for side-scrollers or retro-styled games. The regular ones are made out of the same material, but they feel slightly cheaper, probably because they're lighter. All of the guts have been ripped out of them. Also, they're all part of the Game Boy line, but only the Pro version and the gray-colored regular version have the Game Boy style D-pad. I like this D-pad a lot. It's not as soft feeling as the SNES styled one in the previous version. It's slightly stiffer. I don't think it feels much like a Game Boy D-pad, and I think that's probably for the better. That one's tiny and weak. Again, if you want this specific style of D-pad, you have to get the Game Boy Gray version, either the Pro model or the Game Boy Gray regular edition. You can't get any of the other colors. They all come with the SNES style D-pad for some reason. Now, I have big ass hands. It's part of why I don't like using the Joy-Con, and I try to avoid it when I can. Some people say that the SN30 controllers are too small for them. I think they're just perfect. The D-pad is pretty large. It might help to have those extended grips to keep it rested in your palms better. I could see reaching for the thumbsticks being a problem for people with big hands, but that's not normally how I use this controller. I only hit those thumbsticks if I need to. It's nice to have them around, but I don't use them quite often. This controller has been my go-to for every 2D game like Mega Man 11 or the Switch Online NES games. It's also what I use every single time I stream Pokemon Heart Gold on my Mac. I mean, I've never used an emulator before in my life. That's for criminals and bad people. The battery life is not something I ever notice. I hardly ever charge it. It connects via USB-C just like the Pro controller, but for some reason the regular SN30 controllers are micro USB. In order to connect to different devices, you have to enter different wireless modes. I'm always switching between Switch and Mac modes. Start plus Y enters Switch mode, and Start plus A enters Mac mode. I kind of wish there was a switch on the side or back to switch wireless mode, similar to how there's a switch to power on the Game Boy, because right now you might be thinking you're holding the right button, but you're not, and then you try another button and that doesn't work, then you try another button and that doesn't work, then you look in the manual to make sure you're hitting the right button, then you see the button, you're like, I just tried that button, and then you try it again and it works for some reason, you go, I just tried that button. Whenever I talk about this controller, people bring up problems that they've heard about that I've never experienced before, like for example, controller drift. They say the way the board is made, the D-pad favors diagonal right and down movements. I almost thought I noticed this when I was playing Pokemon Heart Gold, but it's really hard to tell. I didn't experience a problem like this in any other game, and I don't even think I experienced it in Pokemon. I think that was just a fluke, so I don't know where this is coming from. People also complain about input lag, so I tested that. I did this same test in the Hori Joy-Con video, and this time, both SN30 Pros looked like they had 14 frames of lag, where in the last test, all of them had 13. In the Hori video, I noticed no noticeable lag whatsoever. Maybe there was some interference this time, but basically, we can conclude that the new Joy-Con doesn't introduce any new lag. It's not better, it's not worse, it's exactly the same. People also say that they're worried about purchasing one because the Amazon reviews are terrible. So I looked and there's a lot of listings, so it's pretty hard to tell. But they range from 3.5 stars to 4.5 stars and a solid 5 stars for the newest one. 3.5 stars is hardly terrible, but I understand people are already hesitant to spend $40 or $50 on a third-party controller. Apparently, the bad reviews are for the SN30 Pro controller just bricking, becoming completely unresponsive and not turning on. Hey, manufacturer defects happen all the time, and it would be completely fine if 8BitDo had a warranty and actually honored that warranty. But, as it turns out, their warranty is only 30 days, which just so happens to be the exact amount of time that Amazon's return policy is. Little update for you. So while editing this, I realized I was reading their site, and that 30 days is actually the return policy. The only mention of a warranty on their site is on their FAQ, and it says, my products are not working properly. How can I get a replacement under the manufacturer's warranty? It just says, please contact our customer service, and someone will contact you within 48 hours. However, on Twitter, they told somebody, 8BitDo Products has 1-year warranty. Thank you very much for your report. Where is that on the site? I'm gonna still label this as inconclusive. So if you do have a problem with your controller, they tell you to take it up with Amazon, and if you're outside of that 30 days, they are either completely unresponsive or they tell you that you're shit out of luck. There is no reason for this controller not to be responsive after 30 days. That is your fault, and you should be trying your damnedest to make everything right with the customer that just spent $50 on your controller 31 days ago. I'm happy to report that I've never had a bricking issue with any of these controllers that I've tried, and it looks like no one who's purchased the newest SN30 Pro controller has had this issue either so far. Hopefully this is something that they were able to fix in their newest iteration, but doesn't matter. 8BitDo, I know you're watching. You still gotta fix that warranty policy. I'm just supposed to be reviewing these products, and the one thing that I can't review is product failure rate. And the only solution to that, the only way to reassure customers is a good return policy and good customer service. But for now, I just have to say, this is my favorite controller. Here's the problems other people have with it. Roll the dice. I still recommend this newest version of the SN30 Pro controller because it is still the best feeling controller for 2D games. It's versatile enough to work on most of your devices, and it has all of the same buttons a Pro controller has in case you do need them, even motion controls. The only reason I'd recommend a regular Pro controller over this one is if you play mostly 3D AAA games, since they're made for a Pro controller. If you already have a Pro controller and you want to get something a little bit better for 2D games, this is your best option, and you'd have an additional controller for multiplayer games. The new SN30 Pro controller is also just $40 right now, so that's $30 less than the retail price of a Pro controller, so it's also good if you're trying to save some money. And if you want to save even more money, the regular SN30 controllers, the ones without the thumbsticks or the motion controls or the rumble, those are between $20 and $30. For some reason, all of 8BitDo's products on Amazon range wildly in price, and you see them at multiple different price points. But Nintendo's Pro controller is also, it's got a lot of weird price points on Amazon too. Now, if only there was a 2D game on the Switch that could get me to use one of these controllers on a whole nother level, something that could really test its input lag and input sensitivity. I wonder what that could be. That's what I'm talking about. Want it, baby. Stupid ass. So what do you guys think about these 8BitDo controllers? Do you have one of the other ones? Do you have one of these new ones? Do you want one of these new ones? Is it something that you've thought about? Do you even care about having the D-pad in the best spot on the controller? You can leave it in the comments below, or you can add me on Twitter, or you can do any of this other social media garbage. Of course, we got new videos and live streams all of the time. Our schedule is usually just in a pinned tweet over on our Twitter. Oh, and go on over to twitch.tv/WulffDen if you want to see me play a lot more Pokemon Heart Gold, and when the new Pokemon comes out, let's go. There's going to be a whole lot of that. I bet you this would be good for that. Well, then you got, ooh, but it's got motion controls. Don't forget about WulffDen Live, our live podcast every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Eastern Time where we talk to you guys. Don't forget, if you support us either here on YouTube, you click that little join button, or over on Twitch, you can use Twitch Prime. It's free if you have Amazon Prime. Link that account to your Discord account. Get into our supporters only Discord. You get these videos early. You get to play games with us once a month. You can also use the Amazon links below if you want one of these and you want to help support us. Oh, let's not forget, I was also in AJ's video this week where he talks about all the different ways that the Switch can learn from Nintendo's past consoles, and I talk about the NES and how the D-pad should be on the Switch. But of course, the best way to support us, the free way, the easiest, the less skin off of your back, is just hit that subscribe button or share this video with a friend, another friend who likes certain types of games that would benefit from having a controller like this. Thank you guys very much. You have yourselves a very good week. Oh, I bet you've been wanting me to do this whole time. Are you happy now?